Okay, so let's get started on our table. First of all, start 3ds Max, or if this is already running, go up to the File menu, select Reset, and say Yes. You will begin by modelling a single table leg, and once you are happy with it, you will use the Clone tool to replicate the 3 remaining legs. In creating the 4 legs, and later the tabletop, they will be positioned relative to the centre point of the grid in the top view at position X, 0 and Y, 0. Keep this in mind as you position the 4 legs. Because it can be difficult to move the mouse to exact coordinates, you will need to turn on Snap's toggle. In the main menu bar, left click it once and it will turn blue. This will assist you in positioning the objects in the scene, as the Snap's toggle default setting will make the mouse jump in increments of 10 points. Now click the Create button, then the Geometry button, and finally the Box button. Coming back across to the top view, right click and a yellow border will appear around this top view, letting you know it is the active view. Now play with just moving the mouse around, no need to press any buttons, and you will see that under the mouse there is a little yellow square. No matter what you do, you cannot place it in between any of the corners of the square, and this is due to the settings within Snap's toggle. You can adjust the settings of Snap's toggle by right-clicking. However, this is something we are not interested in at the moment, so just close that small window. As you move the mouse around, you will also notice in the bottom right of the screen that the X and Y coordinates also only move in increments of 10. So now that you are comfortable with Snap's toggle, and still in this top view, move the mouse to position X minus 100, Y 100. You can check the position by looking again at the X and Y coordinates in the bottom right of the screen. Once you are at minus 100, 100, press the left button and drag a box till the coordinates are X minus 70, Y 70. Again, you can check this at the bottom of the screen. Release the left mouse. Now you can drag the mouse down. No need to click anything. As you do so, you will notice the box increasing in size in the other 3 viewports. You can also monitor the size on the parameters rollout on the Create panel. Drag the mouse down until the height is minus 220. Left click and you have created the first leg. But let's now rename it to leg 001. And this of course is found under the name and colour rollout in the Create panel. However, at this point the leg does not have a realistic shape to it. Therefore, the next step is to taper the leg. Click the Modify tab on the command panel and make sure the leg is selected. And here, leg 001. If it's not, then you just have to go into any of the viewports and click on it to select it. Next, click on the modifier list. A long drop-down list will appear. You can either scroll down the list or type in T to get to the appropriate section in the list so that we can choose the taper modifier from this list. Left click Now we're going to set the taper amount to 0.4. And you should now see that the leg has in fact become narrower, and this is visible in all the viewports. Now that you have completed one leg, you will use the clone tool to very quickly and easily replicate the 3 remaining legs. Again, make sure the leg is still selected. Up here, go to the Edit tool, select the Clone tool, and of course you can use Ctrl V to bring that up as well. Make sure the Copy button is selected. You will notice here that it automatically increments the name to leg 002. Click OK. Although you have created a copy of leg 001, you will not be able to see it, as both legs will be in the exact same position. Therefore, press H on the keyboard, lowercase, and this will bring up the Select from Scene dialog box. Double click on leg 2, then using the Move Transform Type In tool, by right clicking on the Select and Move, enter +85, +85, and second leg will move to the correct position on the right. The same could have been achieved by dragging the leg to the right, but again this is more difficult in terms of positioning. Now, why are we using the values 85 and 85? Well, if you remember the conversation earlier about positioning the legs around the centre point of the grid. Well, when we created leg 001 at coordinates x minus 100, y 100, and then we dragged it out to x minus 70 and y 70, its pivot point was set exactly in the middle of that box at x minus 85 and y 85. Whenever moving objects, it is the pivot point that is tracked. So to position other legs, you do need to place them with their pivot points in mind at x85, y85 for one of them, x85, y minus 85 for the other, and the final one at x minus 85 and y minus 85. This will ensure that they're exactly in the right place to make a uniform set of legs for the table. So repeat the clone process another 2 times, moving the legs in the y-axis to give the 4 table legs. You will now have 4 legs equally placed around the centre point of the grid. That is the end of stage 1. When you're ready, move on to stage 2. Welcome back. Hopefully you now have your 4 legs. Now we will create a tabletop, again using a box. But this time you will use the keyboard entry in the Create panel on the right hand side. Do make sure the top view is still selected. If it isn't, then right click and that will set it. Now, as previously, click on the Create button, then the Geometry button, and finally the Box button. Now this time click on the Keyboard Entry slot, which will open, and enter length of 220, a width of 220, and a height of 10. Click Create, and the tabletop appears. By default, the table is positioned with its pivot point at x0 and y0 in the top view. And if you look at the top view, you will see all the table legs are equidistant from the center point and the edge of the table. So you now have a table. At this point, it might be wise to take a backup of your work so far. Select Save As from the File menu. And a window will open at the correct folder if you did set up your project folder earlier in this exercise. We can now save the model so far, and we can call it, in this case, table exercise, and click Save. That is the end of stage 2. We have created 4 legs and shaped them. We have created a tabletop. When you are ready, please move on to stage 3.